listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith. Johnson.
The AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California. Presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AFTERBUZZ TV's This Is How I Made It After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's This Is How I Made It After Show.
Yo, what up, AfterBuzzers? Bing is for doing, and we are here doing another AFTERBUZZ TV After Show for This Is How I Made It, the MTV special. Flo Rida and Amber Riley tonight. I am DJ Jesse Janedy here in studio with Sir Nigel McGuinness. How you doing today?
In it to win it, doing well.
He's back with us, and the one, the only, the beautiful Kendra Kabasele.
Thank you. I'm doing well too.
I like the splash of color we got today.
Oh,
that's why I like to give each one of you guys different topics. I like the splash of color we got going on.
I was going to talk about that cheesecake, but
we had some delicious
oh my gosh,
crumpets
with water.
Yes. No tea. But the tea was all on the show today, actually. Yeah. So Flo Rida was one of our stars of the day. And I gotta say, going into this, it was kind of the same situation as 2 Chainz for me. I know of him, you know, I like some of the stuff he does, but I never really gave him that street cred when it comes to hip-hop. Mm-hmm. After watching this, I give him a little more respect than I was giving him. Mm-hmm. I gotta say, you know, I think, Kendra, we were talking about, we don't really consider Flo Rida as a hip-hop artist.
In its original
more hip-hop
definition, I think.
Right.
Yeah. More pop.
More pop. Yeah. Hip-hop.
Pop.
Like a Nicki Minaj.
Yeah.
So what did you guys think of Flo Rida? I mean, he grew up in the projects. He seems like he was kind of always just a straight shooter from the beginning. Didn't really want to get into trouble.
Right, yeah. I mean, I think having watched a lot of different rappers now, they usually have the same sort of story to where they get involved in drugs and get to that stage where they have to decide either I'm going to continue in this lifestyle or head in a different direction. It seems as though he never had that start. Right. From what I took, having the 7 sisters and the mother was a big inspiration to him to never even start down that path.
Right. And I'm assuming he was, because I don't know, maybe I missed it. Was he the youngest out of everybody?
I believe so.
I believe that's what I got from it. I don't know if they said it.
Yeah.
What did you think, Kendra, of his growing up, his upbringing?
I think the same thing. I think he was just always probably raised right, maybe because of, you know, being surrounded by women. I don't, you know, that's just my thought. He didn't really necessarily say that. But yeah, he seemed to kind of stay on the straight and narrow. He probably just always was focused on the bigger picture, getting out of the, what was it, Coral Town or Carroll Town?
Yeah, one of those.
Florida, just to make something bigger out of himself.
His sisters who inspired him, people would come to their window just to hear her sing, which is interesting because I wonder what his sister is doing now that your brother's Flo Rida.
That's exactly what I thought. You know, I was thinking, okay, this is a show about him having a dream and how he got there. I'm sure most of his sisters probably had the same sort of dream.
Right.
Well, I loved that his sister kind of took him in for a year, gave him that deadline, and just said, just focus on your craft. You know?
And I got to say, for Kevin, who is one of the creators of AfterBuzz, always says to me, you know, if you really want to make it in Hollywood, you need it's better if you have a supporting family. I mean, obvious. And it's interesting that both of these guys had that. I didn't expect that out of Amber. More so because it was later in life. I don't know why I didn't expect that. With Flo Rida, like as your sister, I feel like sisters are more. Siblings are more likely, because I feel like I would be more likely now to say to my brother, all right, look, get off mom and dad's back, come stay with me. You know what I mean? I'll take care. You've annoyed me your whole life. I can take another year. Whereas, you know, your parents being like, oh, finally you're out the house.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll come back. And I don't know. I just kind of thought it was interesting that both of them had parents that did that.
Well, was she out of the house?
Who's that?
Amber. Because you said you didn't expect it from Amber's family.
When she said she got out of high school and she was working at IKEA?
Yeah. Was she at home or was she?
I don't know. They didn't say that,
clear,
actually.
Yeah.
I got the feeling that she'd left home, and
Yeah,
even when they said they'd support her, I don't believe they said come back and live with us. I think they just helped her out
rent and
financially,
stuff,
right?
yeah.
Correct.
Right. Well, yeah. Well, she lived in LA anyways.
Right.
Let's see. So he lived in her house for a year, focused on music, and then he started working with Devontae from Jodeci. That's
Yeah, that was
pretty
kind of
big.
random, but because I was thinking of Jodeci the
We're
other
kind of
day.
skipping through quite a bit, though, aren't we? I think when he started off there singing in the laundrette, and he mentioned that guy called Brett from Ground Dogs.
His friend.
Were
from
you
back home.
familiar with him? I'm not.
I'm not. I don't. Honestly, I never knew of Flo Rida. Like with 2 Chainz, 2 Chainz kind of had a bigger following
Yeah.
when he was Titty Boy, whereas Flo Rida, I think it was more like a down south.
Right.
You probably had to be from Flo.
When you're saying like earlier, you were looking at the top 10 best-selling rap artists of all time,
Right.
and he's on that.
No, I thought he
not-
was. It was Nelly that I was
okay.
getting him confused
Okay.
with.
Interesting.
But I know Flo Rida actually is one of the top, like he said tonight, his singles always go to #1. So probably like a Rihanna situation, because Rihanna's never had a #1 selling album either.
Right.
So I just found that out the other day. actually.
Interesting. Well, let me ask you guys this thing. I mean, there were lots of different like inspirations throughout his story. I mean, he talked about how Brett would come and rap, and he was inspired by that. Then he went to the University of Vegas, and his sister died of bronchitis, and he wasn't there because he was too focused on his music. Then he heard the song "Juicy" by B.I.G. Is that
Biggie,
it?
yep.
Right. Which of those things do you think really had the biggest influence on him?
Probably
I
his
think the
sister's death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I think
that-
everything is a step,
Yeah.
but that is what gives you kind of like the emotional. For me, like I don't remember when we talked about Chris Brown, when everything had happened with Rihanna, he invested all of his emotion into a different type of art. I think with Flo Rida, it kind of focused him to do something different and kind of think outside the box. Because if you notice, the type of music that he was talking about at first isn't what he's doing now. And I really want to hear what that song that he said, if I released it now, it would
Is he
still.
amazing?
Yeah.
His demo, right?
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
really love to hear that.
Yeah, he may have. Yeah, that may have triggered, like his sister's death may have triggered something in him where he was like, ugh, I don't want to just be like everyone else, because he lost her, excuse me, in that situation. So, that kind of turned him off of, what you said.
He was really upset about it. You could see, I mean, he had tears in his eyes. But for me, I think it was that song, when he spoke about the song and how inspirational that was to him.
Juicy.
And understanding that if you've got a dream and you can achieve it.
You
To
think
me, that was the thing that I thought really, propelled him on that. But what did he say, 15 years
Yeah.
to make it? I mean, that's the thing. What is it? They say it's a cliche to say it takes 15 years to be an overnight sensation, right?
Yeah. And I mean, I believe you talked about, was it you or it was brought up Mac Miller and said that, he had 5 months and they called that, and that wasn't an overnight success. And we were sitting there like, 5 months?
Right.
That's an overnight success.
Yeah.
Right.
There's no such thing as today, tomorrow, but 5 months is an overnight success. 15 years is, that's why I got to give Flo Rida his credit. You sat there and you were, a lot of people look at Flo Rida and he's, oh, he's corny, he's a disgrace to hip hop. But I mean, it's like, we're rashing on someone who grew up with good family values, who didn't want to get in trouble, honor classes, and then did something with himself,
Right.
And is producing good music.
And he came from that time where people were still on their grind every day, didn't have the internet, the social
Right.
media to just be like, on YouTube today, hit single tomorrow. So
Yeah. Just let me ask you this with your experience in rap. He mentioned in there that he realized at some point that he couldn't be ordinary. He had to be different. At the time, he said you had to work harder, you had to sleep less, or whatever else.
I like that.
As an artist, what would you say? How is he different? How did he set himself apart?
Because the same reason why people of hip-hop culture would hate on him is he was probably in that group, that picture with the rap group that he was with. They were probably producing your typical rap beats, rap songs. What Flo Rida does now is his name is Flo Rida because when he spits, it's with the flow of the beat. So he rides the beat. That's the gimmick of his name. Also, Florida is where he's from. So it's a double little situation we got going on.
So it's his style. His style is very different than other rappers.
Very different. And the music that he does, Nelly did it first, I gotta say. Went to the whole hip hop thing, and then Flo Rida follows. I think Flo Rida just took it and kind of reworked it, and it actually, to me, fits better because with Nelly, I feel Nelly's success kind of is staggered, where Flo Rida consistently puts out. You know, if his album may not go #1 or every song that he puts out isn't #1, the first single he puts out is, like you said, we heard the whistle song stuck in your head.
It's so catchy. Well, and that's the, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say that's the thing about him. It's almost like a formula that's not a formula because he's consistent in being on top, but each song, I think, sounds different.
Oh, it does. But it has the same elements to each song, if you notice.
Yeah, but it's not, I don't know, I never think, oh, that's Flo Rida, like right away if I hear a song. So I think that kind of caters to different types of listeners. Where they, you know, he's able to kind of create a bigger fan base.
And I mean, imagine your first single after you just got signed. Low. I mean, come on. You remember that song? It was,
I'd forgotten until I saw, you know, they flashed.
And it was so pop culture because every girl at that time had the boots with the fur. And apple bottom jeans was huge then. And it's funny because he did come out so much after Nelly because apple bottom jeans was Nelly. And he didn't put those up till later in his career.
So it's just paying homage to him.
You know, it's interesting, like almost like a pass the baton. Situation with Flo Rida. But I gotta say, and the other thing about this guy that I sit here, his mentality, it's funny here at AFTERBUZZ we call it the Greek mentality. It's very Kevin and Maria Menounos. Work hard, stay focused, you know, just keep pushing for the goal. When everyone's sleeping, keep going. While everyone's partying, don't worry. You know, like he said when he was out in LA with Devontae, he said, if I could do something bad for 5 years and be put in jail for 5 years, then I can dedicate 5 years of my life
do something better.
Do something positive. So yeah, you may not be popping the bottles, you may not be out finding girls or doing those things, but after those 5 years, all the hard work and success that you've put into it, you'll be able to do that afterwards because you'll be successful. If
you're successful at the end of it. And I think that was the big thing that I got from his story was that a couple of times he was adamant. And if you work hard and you never give up, you'll make it. He called it, what, the law of gravity or something like that. Whatever goes up has to come down.
Like that.
I watched that and I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it because sheer probability dictates that if there's 1 million people that come to Los Angeles every year,
and they all work hard,
and they all never give up, they're not all going to make it. I mean, by sheer probability, some people aren't going to make it, you know.
But don't you kind of think it's that mentality? I mean, the last comment I wrote is very positive. I was really surprised at how inspiring and such a role model he seemed. Like, I've always heard he's a really nice guy, but to hear him and, you know, just to keep putting it out there, obviously he's trying to get a message across to the people watching. I think, yeah, we all come out to LA and we have that mentality, but it's about how many really stick to that mentality. You know what I mean? Yeah, we do it, but then, you know, that Friday night, it's like, well, I mean, I'm just sitting inside. I know I'm going to go out. I'm going to network. We call it networking. When really you could be at home focusing on the craft.
True.
So,
but I mean, I guess the question is, so it's like everybody who's made it, whatever we want to say made it, you could argue had to have that mentality. But then when we look at Amber Riley, and that's almost a perfect segue. Not that she didn't work hard; she worked very hard. And I think of everybody that's been on this show, to me, she was the most inspirational. But
why was she? I just want to hear this because actually I do agree with you, but I want to hear your opinions. Why was she the most inspirational?
To me, she was.
What was it that
she seemed most real? She seemed most identifiable. And certainly in an industry, the entertainment industry, which is so obsessed with, you know, the aesthetics of somebody, arguably the superficiality of the human existence, she had something more than that. And it was the first time that I think a lot of people arguably who sat at home, see rappers or whatever else and go, I want that, I want to have lots of money, I want to be famous, I want to have hoes, I want to have, you know, champagne and stuff like that. Whereas I think with her, there was a depth to that. There was more of a humanness to her, you know.
What about you?
It's funny because I did turn to Jesse and I said she seems, you know, really real, and I think that draws people in. And I think Flo Rida mentioned it too. Aside from the working hard, he said you have to treat people right, and I think that's what both of them have done.
Right.
And I think that's what sets apart some of the people who are working hard and stepping all over people, or working hard and respecting everyone around them.
And I think, though, the reason we segued to Amber from Flo Rida was that he said you have to work hard, and if you never give up, you can make it. Now, essentially, she gave up. You know,
see, this is what I was going to say, what inspired me. I didn't consider giving up. To me, it was, you can give up and be like, oh, I'm not going to make it because of my weight. I don't feel like she said it like that. I feel like she said, oh no, this industry is too much. I'm not doing that. I'm not going to change who I am, what I am. I'll be fine. I'm going to live my life, be who I want to be. To me, I think the reason she comes off so real, and this is, I've hung out with her, and the thing that I get from her is it's all about music for her, and that's what she explains. When you go to a karaoke bar with her, she's obviously going to outblow all these people, which she did, but at the same time...
You included?
I did not get up after her at all. I let her do her thing. But at the same time, she didn't go up there as an artist and be like, I'm Amber Riley. It was, I genuinely want to sing this song. And she did it fun, and it wasn't like serious mode. And that's what I liked about her. I liked that she said, I want to do music. The acting and that stuff, I think, came later, but it was always about music, and I feel like she said, if I can't do music because of the way I look, you want me to do A, B, C, then fine, then you know what, I'm going to take a step back, and I'm going to live my life, sing in church, and do whatever. And then for her family to give her that, that was inspiring for me, because I don't feel like she gave up. I feel like she made the decision to say, I love who I am, and I'm not going to give that up for this life.
Well, and that's what I didn't think she gave up either, because she mentioned, you know, her parents noticed she spoke less and less about acting and singing, but at the same time when her mom said, what is your ultimate goal, she said, well, singing. Right. So it was still in her.
I guess, I mean, maybe we're just arguing semantics, but when I say gave up, I didn't mean like, okay, I'm beaten by this. It was like, I'm not going to give in to society's ideals and roles for me, which for me, I think perhaps arguably that's why she was most inspiring, because when you look at it, the reason she got on Glee wasn't because of necessarily she was any particularly talented, but she is extremely talented, not take any of that away, but it was because she was a friend of a friend who knew when it was casting, right?
But when we found out that she worked on the Ryan Murphy, I was going to say Ryan Seacrest, Ryan Murphy pilot earlier. At first, did you not go like, oh, that's how she got Glee? He must have like.
That's why she clarified.
Yeah, I thought that was really interesting. It's just fate is in the what's in the cards for you.
Yeah. I mean, so there's luck, I guess, is what I'm saying here. You know, I mean, we could look. Let's say in a different universe, Amber Riley had said, you know what, I'm going to lose loads of weight because that's what they want. And she'd have made it, and she was like super popular and was famous in movies. She could now be on this is how I made it, and she'd be telling essentially the same story as Flo Rida, going, they told me how to do this, and I did it because I refused to give up. I was going to be a superstar. You know what I mean? So there's two different ways of looking at that, and you know, you've got to take your hat off her for really believing in herself and believing in her worldview, which obviously comes from her mother and everything else, and arguably, again, that's why she was most inspiring to me.
Interesting. So she grew up in Compton, then lived in Orange County, and her parents were separated. And I loved hearing her story about her mom and how she would drive through Beverly Hills and always push her to dream. She grew up in church. And the interesting part to me was when she was working at IKEA, because she didn't really speak of her father. But when she said her parents, I thought that was interesting. Because she didn't speak of her father at all in this episode.
Maybe,
but she did use the term parents. So I thought that was kind of something, like stepping in at a certain time, or I wonder if that had anything to do with her drive afterwards. You know, I don't know anything about her father or her
maybe her mother
myself.
was the creative driving force, but when it came to the actual financial stuff, that was where her dad kind of stuck in there. Yeah.
It loves being in the limelight. Her nickname in high school was Hollywood, and she always said, you know, when I'm gonna be famous, I'm gonna be super nice. And agreed. Like she is really down to earth. It's like hanging with a best friend. Like, and the first time I ever met her, she was very. She was doing a fitting and she loves high heels. She's just like a gay boy in a woman's body. And she was really just no questions. I didn't even say my name to her or introduce myself to her. And she was just like, what? We were cracking jokes back and forth. And you see that with her. She's just bright and bubbly, and her energy is so positive, and it just shines from her. And I don't know if, I know a lot of people I had a vocal coach who would always say, when you sing, it releases this certain energy from you. And I just wonder if, because she's singing all the damn time, so that's what's releasing her energy. But I mean, to think about going from a milk commercial to Glee to now you're singing for the President of the United States.
That must feel...
When people slammed the doors on you, told you were too big, too black, too not this role, you're a girl. That's incredible. So yeah, I'd be damn pumping around some heels too. If that was you. What do you guys see next for her?
Oh goodness, because what's going on with Glee? I don't
Glee is...
What is Glee exactly? Can someone give me the Reader's Digest?
A High School Musical.
Okay.
To be kind of...
So it's scripted, it's a
scripted show by Ryan Murphy, and the kids basically walk around their lives and then break into song.
It's a Glee club. Glee club.
Yeah, but it's about a Glee club.
Yeah.
So like 90210, but with musical songs thrown in.
Exactly.
Yeah. And, romance. And
Okay.
I don't watch it, but I...
Are there lots of different, like, demographics in it? Because, she talked about how, because she was heavier, that, it was... Arguably, you don't see a lot of people like that on TV.
Well, what's interesting is when she spoke about why she didn't want to do the show, and she didn't want to play the role of the girl who... was sitting in the corner anymore.
Right.
Then they went to a clip of Glee with her and Lea Michele. Lea Michele is white, Jewish, and she gets all the roles in Glee. She's the main roles. Where you can argue, well, Amber's the better singer. Lea Michele's voice is amazing. They compare her to Barbra Streisand.
Wow.
But Amber's voice is equally strong. So in that scene, Amber was saying to her, why do you get all the roles? How come I can't be a star for once? And there's a couple episodes, and then a few weeks back we did Naya Rivera, who is
her co-star.
Right, Latina and on fire, and she's going through, problems being a lesbian, problems with her family life. So they have that perspective. Amber is feeding what she went through in Hollywood through this character.
Yeah.
And being a role model for girls.
So there's a lesbian in it?
Yes.
But she's not really a lesbian?
There's two of them. No, she's not.
Okay.
But yes, I definitely recommend watching Glee.
I should do it, because I hear so much about it, and I never watch it. Did they have an AFTERBUZZ TV show for that?
Yes.
I do.
Marissa, you do Glee, right?
The Glee.
Yes, our very own Marissa.
Oh, that is not
Marissa,
Marissa.
you do Glee, right? Say yes.
I do. Yes, I do.
That's funny.
That was funny.
But yeah, you were saying what's next for...
What do you see next for
Amber?
Amber?
I can see probably movies, maybe surrounding music, how like Dreamgirls or something like that, because she just loves to kind of marry music with acting.
I could see her doing like the voice for a cartoon or something like that, a big like... something like the next Little Mermaid or something else like that. Yeah, exactly. I think that'd be real good to give her a chance to sing and use her voice. And
I don't know, and this is just me going out there. I don't want her to release an album.
No?
Here's why. I think she has that voice that when she sings, you know who she is. And I love that she hasn't released an album yet. And she's doing that, mixing acting and music together. So it's like when she does something, it's really epic. Like singing for the president, that's not, I mean, you can name how many artists that could never have that chance. And I kind of like that push of it. I like people, the reason I like Barbra Streisand is because she doesn't oversaturate herself. She has this really unique voice. And we could argue Jennifer Hudson, I feel, kind of oversaturated herself. I don't know if you could agree with that.
I don't think so, but we can agree to disagree.
So I want Amber to, not an album yet. I want her to focus. I like this music and acting mixed together because I don't think there's enough good content out there for like this, like Glee. And now that Glee's coming to an end, there's gonna be kind of an open market for it. So, but I do like the idea of her like maybe getting a Disney princess role and.
But you don't see her having like an original, like just all of her own songs, like.
Not yet.
Really?
I want her to do one more big project before she does that.
Or what about like a holiday album?
I would love a holiday album, nice. Actually. Yeah. That would really be good.
Because her voice has that, like
it's
home,
cheery.
That feeling of home.
But before, I don't know why, it's just from a marketing point. I want her to do another big project because I really want her to be very successful. And I think she needs one more big project. And no shade because I love Naya. But I just think Amber has a bigger drive behind her and a bigger destiny. Is that so wrong to say that? I don't know.
Are you just saying that because she's your friend?
No, it's not. It isn't that. I think Naya's beautiful. Don't not get that wrong. And her voice is amazing too. It's just there's something about Amber. Like you said, for you to turn around and walk away from all this and then Destiny Justice comes literally knocking on your door from inside your apartment.
I know. Knocking on your door. That's funny.
Yeah.
From the inside.
What do you guys see for Flo Rida? Since we got him with #1 singles, do we see the momentum going? Do we think he needs to change? I mean, I guess it's don't fix it if it ain't broken.
But I wonder, will he take that route of, doing more producing, more business development, the Jay-Z's or the ones who are kind of doing it on a different level? I think he has the work ethic for it.
Yeah.
And the drive.
That's actually really interesting.
And the smarts, he seems.
His music's as successful now as it ever was, is that correct?
Yes.
He sells as many albums, blah, 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 right? Yeah.
He's very consistent with the stuff he does. He's always on the Billboard charts.
Right.
And I mean, it surprises me because I've liked his songs, but I've never been one to go, oh my God, Flo Rida just dropped that track.
Do you think like musicians nowadays have the same sort of shelf life as they did arguably, a generation ago or not?
Not at all.
No?
I think, and actually it's funny because I was randomly looking up net worths and things like that.
In your spare time.
And it's interesting to see the net worth of an 80s icon versus a 90s icon, like Madonna to Britney to Rihanna. Rihanna is everywhere right now, but not even half of what Britney Spears or even Christina Aguilera are worth. And I think it was because at that time, when an album was released, and that's why I don't, everyone's going to move to this, I'm going to release an album, It takes a lot of time and a lot of setting up. And that's why I want with Amber to really do it the right way. With Britney, it was like when she dropped an album, it was like, oh, everyone knew when it was being released. Now it's like, oh yeah, Rihanna's album's next week. But Rihanna hasn't had a #1 album. I just think that the shelf life is small because everyone's trying to do it also.
Well, but I mean, when you talk about net worth, though, you could just as easily say that because they've been around longer, they've had more investments pay off than someone who's just sort of breaking through now or in the last 5 years. Like Britney Spears, her net worth, maybe she's had a huge Pepsi commercial or something like that that's contributed millions of dollars to that. And when you look at Madonna. Sorry, go ahead. Go on.
I was just going to say Rihanna has all of these campaigns and, so it's.
What I hate to say this, but what Britney Spears has had in a 15-year radius, Rihanna's already had in
5,
10 years. It's just the way that everything's being popped out now.
Yeah.
It's almost like, well, she'll put out something or she'll do this.
Yeah.
And also now you can download the music for free, and the pirating and all that stuff has really affected the industry. And even iTunes. I mean, now on iTunes you got to get it for $9.99 versus back then it was $15 for that CD.
Yeah.
But that's crazy. Like I was reading somewhere, and it was a struggling musician who said that you'll spend $4 on a cup of coffee that will be gone instantly. Yet you won't spend 99 cents on you know, a song that somebody probably worked 6 months of their life to create, that, you know, blood, sweat, and tears, and genuinely believe, no, I'm going to get that for free, but I'll pay $4 for it. It's, to me, it really doesn't speak well for, but I guess it's just because people don't realise, unless people can see how much work and effort has gone into this, and they see these big, you know, corporations, and they see these people who are millionaires, and they, well, you know, they're not going to miss that 99 cents. I think that's what their mentality is.
I think shows like this, when Flo Rida sits there and talks about this one song, like if you guys heard it now, you know, it was my everything. And I would actually like for them to get maybe a little deeper into the production of the music. But yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think we look at the big picture of it versus, oh yeah, they're an artist.
But we're also in America and arguably in the Western world taught to value things so strongly that we want things, even when we can't afford things, or even if we have to like steal them, we still want them so much. You know, I think if we had different values, or we valued things differently, you know, like being honest and morally correct, if that was held in as high regard as having nice things and being rich, which it certainly isn't, then you know, we'd have a very different world. You know?
I definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as the album, I mean, the shelf life of artists, I don't think it's long, and that's why I got to give my hats off to Flo Rida for being consistent with what he's doing.
How's Eminem doing now? Is he still doing much or not?
#1 selling. And
He's got songs out at the moment, is he? Because I sound like a dinosaur, I know, but like.
But still, and even on like I said, Rihanna's the hottest thing right now on her new album, and I don't know if it was last year or the year before, he had outbeat Taylor Swift with Rehab.
I mean Flo Rida.
With Eminem. No, I don't. As far as Flo Rida, I don't know about how his albums do. I have seen that they are in the top 10. I don't know about #1. I know his singles. He's like a Rihanna. That's why I keep saying her name. His singles keep going #1. Rihanna has the #1 most singles for a female artist, but never sold a #1 album.
If people are now not buying music as much, they're pirating it. How do they get that? How do they know who's #1, who's #2?
That's the thing. That's why I feel like it's watered down.
It is watered down because it's just based off. I mean, for the most part, it's based off iTunes, and also it's based off radio plays and spins. So it is very tainted.
Really?
Because then there's payola, like you get into the bribery of radio stations to play certain songs. So you know, it's not accurate by any means.
And that's where we become the sheep of what is hot and what is not.
That's what I should be listening to, you know, unless you have your own brain.
Exactly. And again, like I say, when it comes to Flo Rida, I think he's somebody who produces something that is worldwide and not just pigeonholed to hip-hop music, pop music. It crosses over, it blends, it's club music, it's a little bit of everything.
Definitely was as I was watching, and I'm not a big rap fan whatsoever, you know, but it definitely had a catchy sort of beat and, you know, a melody to it that's stuck in your head, right?
Maybe you are a hip hop fan. Maybe he is a hip hop fan now.
Yeah, eventually. But so if you had to like sum up this episode, what was the one thing that really stood out to you?
How positive both of these people were. I thought they were a great pairing. For an episode. It was very uplifting, and it pushes me more because it's like, from the point of Amber saying, I know who I am, I'm not going to conform, so I'm going to do what I'm going to do, from that to just hearing the repetitive of, I mean, I hear it from Kevin and Maria all the time, but Flo Rida saying, like, you have to push. It took me 15 years, but I nonstop, I pushed, and I got picked on, but look where I am now. What about
Yeah,
you?
I think I like the fact that because all of the artists we've seen or actors on the show, I like that they're able to have this kind of conversation with their fans. Because I would not have known this about Flo Rida had I just been like, oh,
Right.
oh, that's Flo Rida. I don't. But to hear him speak in a way that I never imagined him to, I think that's kind of something that's inspiring in itself for the fans. Because now the fans are like, oh, it's not just about apple bottom jeans and the boots with the fur. I have to kind of be serious about my life. So life's not all about the partying.
I think to me, the one thing that really stands out is that there's no path. There's no direct path. To me, these are two different people in the sense that there was one that said, if you work really hard, you're going to make it no matter what. And the other one was, if you believe in yourself, whether you make it or you don't, it's not important as long as you're happy. You know what I mean? So if anybody is sitting out there wants to be famous or wants to be this or that, you can't guarantee it. You know what I mean? And if that's the case and you can't guarantee that living your life a certain way is going to get you to that goal, then what do you have? All you have is here and now, and being happy on the journey, whether you make it or not.
And you have to find what your happiness is. Exactly. So that's all for this episode. Are we back next week? Or
Yes.
We are back next week. Until next week, you can follow me at DJ Jesse J.
I'm at Kendra Kabasele.
I'm at McGuinness Nigel.
And make sure you guys follow us on AfterBuzz TV on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. And make sure you guys download us on iTunes, subscribe, rate, comment, give us 5 stars, and let us know what you guys think of each episode. Until next week, same time, same place. Peace.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
Thank you, Dick.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.